was the first time you heard the question, who are you? Actually, no. Let me ask you another question. When was the first time you actually thought about who you are? Unfortunately, I won't be able to listen to all of your answers because it would take all day long. But today you get to listen a bit about my experience. My very first time thinking about who I was, or at least the one that I remember, was with this guy. I was 5 years old at the time, so I obviously had no idea what I wanted Alice to say when I asked her about who she was. But I remember thinking now, that's an easy question. She's Alice. Answering by just telling it her name made total sense for me because whenever someone asked me who I was, I always answered, hi, I am Gabriela, nice to meet you. And that is because the only moment I could remember hearing the question was when I met someone for the first time. But that day I noticed that there was something with this question that I didn't understand. So I figured I would know when I was older. The years passed by, and this question appeared to me again. This time, in one of the books I got as a birthday present when I turned 13. The book is called Sophie's World, and there is this scene where Sophie receives a note written only those 3 words again. Who are you? At that time, I really tried to understand. What does this question mean? What does it really want to know? And how can I know who I am? So we started looking for possible answers. Well, what are the things that make me who I am? I started easy. Just like Sophie, I also looked at myself in the mirror and tried describing what I saw. I knew I was a human being, I was a girl, I had curly and dark brown hair, I wore glasses. I also thought about my grandparents who was born in Japan because I always used to be labeled as the Japanese girl in kindergarten. Was that who I was? Was that what the question wanted me to answer? Just a bunch of physical traits that could apply to so many other people? If I was supposed to know who I was, the one thing that I was sure was that I couldn't be the same as anybody else. I wanted to be unique, to be me and just me. So I just kept listing all my physical traits until I was sure there would be no one exactly the same as I was. Who on earth would have exactly the same glasses, have exactly the same eye shape and color, or even the same scars on the knee that I had? With that, I knew who I was. It was a very long answer that I couldn't remember all the points after 3 minutes listing them all, so I really hoped nobody would ever ask me who I was. Parallel to that, I started watching these YouTube videos of people saying that they finally discovered who they were, how it changed their lives, and how everything was easier when you know yourself. Until that point, I hadn't thought much about it, but it got me thinking. Why would we want to know who we are anyway? Maybe, if you're a kid, it might help you decide the toy you want to play with, or the theme for a birthday party. If you're a teenager, it might help you decide what you want for a future. For adults, I'm not there yet, but maybe deciding whether you keep your job or accept a job offer that might change a lot in your life. And when it comes to taking big decisions in life, who wouldn't want to have the process facilitated, right? So, not surprisingly, most of those videos gave basically the same advice in the end. Know what you like, discover new things, get out of your comfort zone, and of course, go to therapy. But if none of them said anything about knowing how you look, did that mean my answer was wrong? Because if I was wrong, that meant I didn't know who I was. No, I wouldn't give up until I got the right answer to my question. And there I went again. I did some changes, but decided to keep the part of how I look. So now, I was not just another girl with curly, dark, brown hair, glasses, and Japanese descendants, but it was a girl with curly, dark, brown hair, glasses, and Japanese descendants who liked reading, took violin classes every Wednesday, even decided to learn German, but still couldn't ride a bike. That should end my problem. I knew how I looked and what I liked. Yes, I definitely knew who I was. But then another problem came up. I decided to quit the violin classes. And so I stopped the violin classes and started having yoga classes. And here, another problem came in. If you used to like something, and now you don't anymore, are you still the same person? Let's take another example, a very famous one actually. We all have heard already about the ship of Theseus, right? There is this ship that every time a piece gets broken, it is replaced by a new one until all the pieces get replaced by new ones. Is the new ship the same one as it was in the beginning? Because if you compare the very first ship with the ship that got its first piece replaced, it would be very intuitive to say that they are still the same one. But if we take the very first ship with the very last ship, they won't have any piece in common, so they can be the same, right? We could stop here, but this thing can get even trickier. What if the man who fixes the ship every time it gets broken decides to keep all the broken pieces to himself and use them to build a new ship? Now, which one is, well, the ship? They both will look pretty much the same, right? So, are they identical? Feel free to believe in my bets fit too. Well, little did I know back then that there's a whole area of philosophy that deals specifically with this identity issue. But personal identity, when it comes to human beings, is not as simple as just knowing whether you have all the same pieces you had some years ago. Because 1, you are not a ship. 2, body transplant is not something you do every year unless, of course, you're the surgeon. And 3, we humans not only have physical traits, but we also have personality. We have memories, values, and some will say that we also have a soul. The main focus of all these personal identity theories, and believe me, there are much more than we can think of, is finding something that makes you you, and it remains the same all over your life. Some of these theories include the body theory, the one that I defended without even knowing about it, by affirming that I, and only I, have the body I have today, and will have until the day I die. I know I'm still the same person I was yesterday because I'm still the same body. I still have the same haircut, the same glasses, the same scar on my knee, the same DNA. But still, at the same time, I still can get a new haircut, another scar on my knee, gain or lose weight. Not even the molecules of my DNA are exactly the same as they were, 10 years ago. Take this other problem, a very famous one as well. This is you, and as any other human being, you have a body, but you also have a brain. Within your brain, you carry all your memories, stories, experiences, personal interests. And this is me. I am also a human being, so I obviously have a body and a brain as well. We don't know yet, but our brains are about to be replaced one by the other, so that your body will not have my brain, and my body will not have your brain. Well, now that you discover what is about to happen, you get to decide. Who are you? Your body with my brain, or your brain in my body? That's how John Locke proposed his memory theory, defending the idea that our identity relies on, well, our memory. Being who you are is also knowing about where you come from and how you got to where you are today. And it really makes sense, right? Our memories, experiences help us to mold ourselves, discover what we like, what we believe, and even how we behave. As probably most of you have chosen, Locke also figured that most people will prefer to remain with their memories rather than their bodies. Also, if you have chosen to keep your body with my brain, I'm sorry, but I would like to keep my memories. Because that's how I can carry on my own legacy and be proud of being here giving this talk today. Each experience I've had so far, since watching Alice in Wonderland, being teased in school for having a Japanese name, or even learning how to ride a bike only after I turned 17, they helped me build my personality and made me the person I am today. But still, after so many years trying to describe the one thing that makes you who you are, one little issue remains. An issue that is probably the main reason all of those studies and theories started in the first place. As Heraclitus would say, no man ever steps on the same river twice, for it's not the same river and he's not the same man. If our bodies are different, minds super changes over time, so will our memories. Every second that passes, you get new memories that will be processed by your brain, making you a different person than you were a second ago. I'm not saying you are a completely new person from a second to another, but that as time goes by, you are changing and getting older too. And that is why finding who you are is so hard, because you will be a different person from day to day, and even if you think you found an answer, it might not make sense for you in some years. Be it because you don't like the same things anymore, or your friends have changed, you got a new job. As I like to say, life happens. We are in this constant flow of discovery. Finding who you are is something very paradoxical, as you now can tell. Not only the two theories I brought here today showed some flaws, but if you go after the others, you see that they also fail in trying to overcome the process of changing. So the next time someone asks you who you are, simply tell them your name. I'm sure they will please their answer. Thank you.